Wednesday night prime time can only mean one thing, man. Thank you so very much for taking some time off of your Wednesday evening to rock with your boys, reporting eligible live, man. Thank y'all so much again. I'm your host, Berto, joined by my guy, Bro Talk. And as you know, the running duo, reporting eligible is coming to you live, man. The chat is lit. We'll acknowledge the chat in just a minute. But brother, man, how was your New Year's? How did you bring in the new year? How's everything going so far, man?
It was chill. I don't even think we made it to midnight, to be honest with you. I think we
I
saw I
did.
think we saw the East Coast, the New York ball drop here in Central Time, and then after that we were kind of like, man, let's go. Kids are asleep. Time to go to bed. So it was pretty chill. Came away with a W to end the season,
Woo.
sweeping our division rivals, first time since 2016. That
Let's
felt
do it.
good.
Yes.
And then the new era, what we're gonna get into. So it's
We're
kind of
gonna get
like
into that.
we were on the edge of our seat, pins and needles, and then it happened, and here we are.
Absolutely. But I got to shout out right quick our girl in the chat, Nikki Pitts. Happy birthday. Capricorn season is upon us. My son is on Monday, January 12th, and then I am Saturday, January 17th. So Capricorn season is in full
My
effect.
daughter is January 15th.
Matt, oh, I love it. I love it. Look at this, man. I love it. Oh man, this is awesome. So yes. Final game of the year saw us sweeping the Aints in a game that, just like any old NFC South rivalry matchups, very close. 1917 was the score. It was a good game. It was a good game. I'll
Was it
say that
though?
much.
Was it
Defensively, I
though?
I, I think for the defense, I think we showed what these draft picks really mean to this team. We saw, again, Xavier Watts playing out of his mind. James Pierce Jr. touching on records that we haven't seen in quite some time, eclipsing the double-digit sacks, tying him with Vic Beasley, first Falcon since 2016 to reach that plateau. And it's a sight to see because Terry Fontenot did his work. He left us these gifts, a parting gifts that is Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., Xavier Watts, and we'll enjoy Billy Bowman when his time is back and ready. But yeah, man. So shout out to our former GM, that is Terry Fontenot, because the news came fast, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Maybe 3 hours, 4 hours after the game, heads were rolling. The first one to go was Raheem Morris. And you and I was just a quick exchange, and it was like, Raheem got fired. Oh man, maybe Terry will be safe after all. Terry got fired. Oh, what the hell is going on in Atlanta? But your thoughts, real quick, man, on these expected departures in Atlanta.
So I was in bed when this happened. I was getting ready to, call it a night, not expecting it to happen as fast as it did. When Arthur
Mm,
Smith got fired, he had just
mm-hmm,
gotten his butt kicked in New
mm,
Orleans. And so
did.
we were all kind of like, this is it. This is over. He needs to go. And then it happened late in the night. Well, it wasn't even late into the night. It was the night. And then boom, breaking news. Raheem was fired. And like you said, we talked to each other on the phone, like, oh my gosh, it actually happened. We didn't think it was going to happen. We thought Arthur Blank would, stick to his old ways, 4-game winning streak. Hey, you know what, Raheem, you got the players playing, blah, 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 blah. We're like, all right, good, cool, click. And not even 30 seconds later, I call you, hey,
Yeah.
they just fired Terry. And you were like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was kind of like we didn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been in these situations before where it's like Arthur uses these things as excuses to keep these guys around because he doesn't like change. He doesn't like to rip a band-aid off. He likes the continuity. You may have
Mm-hmm.
seen, he may have seen what the players were seeing. Hey, we love Raheem. And Raheem is well respected, right? There's
Yeah.
no doubt that everyone in the league, the locker room, the even ownership respect him. Even as fans,
Mm-hmm.
frustrated as we were. Oh, already got a delivery. Thank you. I'll keep going and then I'll show the chat. Thank you.
A
Um,
W.
and we already see he's already getting interviews, but
Mm-hmm.
to see it happen as quick as it did, I was shocked. It just
Me
feels like
too.
Arthur is going, like he's taking a different approach. We saw the Sportsology group doing
Yeah,
like give a fat stack of analysis of what their football operation was, and that kind of already told you that I think Arthur already had his mind made up.
I think so.
even though the 4-game winning streak happened at the end, think about it.
Mhm.
Think about the butterfly effect, right?
Mhm.
One game, you win one of those close games. We're
Mhm.
talking about Raheem Morris probably still being the head coach. We're preparing for a playoff game, hosting the LA Rams again in the
Again.
Benz, right?
Right.
And so we would be thinking, hey, we can beat this team again. We did it. Can we get to the divisional round? Okay, now can we get to the NFC Championship? Like it would be completely different. But nonetheless, we're here. Things happen for a reason. Raheem, thank you for your time here. Terry Fontenot, thank you for the last 2 years, right? It was a bumpy
Mm.
road. A lot of people do not like Terry. Do not like him. And I'm not talking about just fans. I'm talking about
Mhm.
people in the media. I'm talking about
Mhm.
former players. Apparently, there was a form of arrogance coming in,
Mm.
from Terry Fontenot. So
Yeah.
fresh start. Apparently, and I listened to a podcast earlier today. Apparently Terry was continuously lying to Arthur's face of things that he was going to do, and Arthur entrusted him. Kirk Cousins happens, right? Michael Penix happens. We've heard Michael Penix was maybe Arthur Blank, but nonetheless, you
Mhm.
spend all that money. Now you're back in the situation of what's your quarterback room look like. It just feels good because then what happened Monday? Tell the people what happened Monday. The very next morning.
Whoo!
It
The
didn't even.
very next
It
morning.
literally was like 10 hours later.
Yeah, we wake up to the news of Rich McKay stepping aside from football operations, being shown a whole different side of the business. And this is where the door opens for Matt Ryan to come in and become the president of said organization, the Atlanta Falcons, which, for some, it's like, oh man, what experience does he have? But I think none of that matters because the common denominator is McKay is gone. McKay is effectively removed from anything having to deal with football operating moves that as we all know, he's had his sticky fingers within the organization still, even though Arthur Blank white lied to all of us saying, oh, he's not a part of it. This is, Raheem, this is Terry. Yeah, no, the truth finally came out with him being gone. Now this team could hopefully get over many humps, and with coaches, with personnel decisions, draft decisions, things could hopefully become more clearer and not have that outside noise just yapping, 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 and just convolute what's going on within the flowery brain. So I was happy to hear that about Rich McKay, him stepping aside, man. That long letter that Blank put out to the
It just
fans.
it just feels like he's taking a different approach. Like he's
He
tired of it.
very much is. He
You
is.
know what? I gotta, and he's a businessman, right? In
Hmm.
business, if you start failing, you gotta self analysis. You got to get someone from the outside, which he did, to
Hmm.
analyze your said business and figure out what you need to do to fix it or try and get in the right direction. And that seems like
Yeah.
what he is doing now, creating
Hmm.
that position of president of football operations. Which
Hmm.
Bones asks, when is our interview? Did you get a call? I got a call, but apparently they told me like, "Hey, you can come in, but there's a guy that used to be here in
All
Flowery
out,
Branch,
baby.
and he used to wear the number 2. He's in the Ring of Honor. I don't know about your chances, but you can call and check in." I said, "You know what? This is Matty Ice. This is Matty Ice's thing." And it's funny to see them say, "Oh, we're going to interview him, and then we got to interview this
Yeah.
person." Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
abiding by it, but we all know
Yeah.
it's
Down. Yep.
Matty Ice's position. So to your point, to get Rich
Yep.
McKay out
Hmm.
and then bring someone in, maybe he doesn't understand the business side of it. Maybe he does because maybe he's been, talking to Arthur Blank behind the scenes. We don't know.
Mm.
But he's a football mind. Like he
Mhm.
was in the game. He understands what to look for in players. He brings a
Mhm.
style of leadership that Rich McKay did not have, right? And he's
Yep.
going to demand a lot from the GM and the head coach, which in the letter, right, they report to him. So now instead of reporting to Rich McKay, who's a businessman, you're
Mhm.
reporting to a future Hall of Fame quarterback on what you think should be done for said team.
Right.
And remember those reports saying that he wanted to work at CBS and do this?
Yeah.
It was cleared out. He would
Yes.
he would
Yes.
solely focus on this because he still has a home in Atlanta.
Yeah. And this may or may not stick. It may or may not mean much, but I go back to a conversation Matt Ryan had a few months back. As a matter of fact, after that Dolphins loss, where it was him, Aaron Donald, and a couple other co-hosts on a show, and he's like, I'm shocked, and he was shocked that the Falcons lost to the Dolphins in the fashion that they did. And he highlighted one thing the week before playing the Cleveland Browns in mucky weather, outside weather. And he comes out and he looks in the camera, a la like you do. And he goes, what does Atlanta have? They have a roof. And that day it was rainy. Baby, open that roof and you make it difficult. Now, what to your point, as in terms of being all in and just being the former player, those are the things that you think as a competitor. What advantage can I give my team, against the opponent? And what Matt Ryan does, he's such a cerebral individual. He was a student of the game, and when he gets into this position, like I told you, dude, he's gonna be as cerebral. He's gonna look at every in and out, to make this Falcons team just relevant once again, right? And that's what excites me at the end of the day.
You may actually see the quarterback position fixed because you have a
Finally.
quarterback running your operation and having the final say. You think he would have given up that money for Kirk Cousins? I don't think so. I would have said, hey guys, I think he would have said, hey guys, I know I made money, so I know why Kirk wants his money. Like, I understand that. But operationally, when you tie up that much money, you limit yourself for other assets around the team. Yes, the quarterback is the most important position when it comes to leading an offense, generating what you need to. But I think he would have X-nayed that and said, let's go the cheaper route and see if we can get what we need out of a year and then plug in. It may have not even been Michael Penix. It may have been another guy. He may have liked a Bo Nix. He may have liked a J.J. McCarthy in the wings. Like, you don't know who he would have liked. He may have still liked Michael Penix, but it feels like him having the final say, he'll be able to fix something that has ailed us since he left.
Since he left, deservingly so. And I'm gonna play a little bit of musical chairs here with the topics because you're talking about quarterbacks, and our current and still quarterback Kirk Cousins did something that kind of blew my mind, and worked with the Falcons in this fashion, restructuring the contract, opening up the cap savings for this year. I believe it's north of 34 million. So by right, once March opens, this all but signals the end of Kirk Cousins' tenure in Atlanta. They'll spread out the money, towards 27 and 28, if I'm not mistaken. But Kirk Cousins no longer in Atlanta, leaves a void at the quarterback spot. We don't know when Michael Penix will return, right? That's the dark horse. That's the elephant in the room, whatever you want to label it as. What do the Falcons do in the offseason? Oh, if you're Matt Ryan, what are you doing to assure the fans that we're going to be competitive in 26? That we have some cap money now. Is there something waiting in the wings, you think, Matt Ryan coming into Atlanta and just making a boom right off the rip? Like, we're not fucking playing. This is what we're doing.
I don't think so, because I don't think we still have holes on the roster overall. That I think that's where Terry fell short. He felt like we were one player away, whereas he failed to build the depth of a team, right? Injuries, finding assets like he did with Divine Diablo. So I don't think we're quite there. I think it all depends on who your head coach is, and then him and the GM and Matt Ryan deciding, okay, who fits the style of offense we want to run, right? If it's a West Coast guy, it's probably someone like a Mac Jones, right, who's going to hit the market, or even Malik Willis, right? There, and then that begs the question: is like, okay, then they start having that difficult conversation. Is okay, what do we think about Michael Penix? He's coming off his ACL injury. He needs footwork. His footwork needs help.
Yeah,
he needs all these things. But when you have Matt Ryan, and depending on who your head coach is, you may be able to retool him and still make it work, right? He's still on a rookie contract. You want to try and win while he's on that said contract, but you just don't know. When a regime changes, a regime ties themselves to a quarterback. And when that regime changes, well, there's that uncertainty with that quarterback. We want Michael to succeed. We want
absolutely,
him
absolutely.
But we just don't know, right? There's a lot of unknown questions, and maybe we'll get some answers tomorrow, because tomorrow is Arthur Blank's presser, which I thought he would have already hired Matt Ryan.
Me too, man. Damn,
he would have been with him at the presser, right?
Right.
But it's just going to be Blank by himself. Maybe his son is up there. That would be shocking if his son's up there, because then that kind of tells you, okay, Josh, He's
He's grooming.
he's grooming him
Yeah.
to take over the ship, right? We talked about this. We think Arthur will hand the keys over after the World Cup or potentially after the Super Bowl that's going to be in the Benz. I
Yeah.
think it's in 28.
28 and 28. A lot of things are just pointing and trending in the right direction. And by far, if now's the time to be a Falcon fan, because I mean, and that's not to question anybody's fandom before this, but when you hear the name Matt Ryan, everybody's ears go like this, because obviously Matt Ryan success is very much a part of that name and what he's been to in Atlanta. So I for sure am exciting. I'm not, overly happy, of course, like most of us are, that we missed the playoffs, right? We were just a game or two away, you know what I mean? The Jets game, for example, that game there, we wouldn't be having this sort of conversation. We would be having wild card Saturday or Sunday conversation on who we're playing, and we go from there. But obviously, you know, things have drastically changed since Sunday. Now, obviously, there's a void at head coach. And obviously, like you mentioned, when that said head coach does come in, obviously working alongside which we all assume is Matt Ryan, a QB decision will be made. Head coaching, right? Very pivotal, very important. 2 years ago, there was an attractive bunch of up and coming minds, solid veterans that were available. All through came through Flowery Branch. We ultimately decided to go with Raheem Morris, obviously. This time around, brother, I think there's maybe better options, if I'm being correct.
It's
Better options
it's
at the head
just as
coaching position.
it's just as good as it was 2 years. And early on, we didn't think it was going to be.
Not even close. And just to remind, I obviously Clint Kubiak was going to be at top of the list on everybody's list, but Jeff Halfley, Chris Shula, a lot of those guys are now up and comers. Those are probably the names that were tied to some ball clubs, right? Because there wasn't a lot of clarity towards the middle of the season on what vacancies were going to be had. Now that the vacancies are, in front of us, there are more names now available. And hold on, Saturday, we could see even more. Sunday, we could see another one. We're all waiting. We might be doing the bear shuffle on Saturday night, because
We're bear
there is,
downing. That's what we're
you
doing.
know it, man. And also, Mike Tomlin is another name, but we don't know. We don't know. But we listen, we got to put that name out there, only because if he does hit the market, man, it's the winningest coaches. Three of them will be available in LaFleur, John Harbaugh, and Mike Tomlin for their respected organizations. Where are you leaning more towards? Are you going the offensive route, or are you still staying defensive minded and targeting one of these up and comers?
No, I think you have to go offensive minded this go around.
I
I think you
agree.
have to get someone that is in the know of what the
Hmm.
trend is right now to beat
Hmm.
these elite defenses, right? That Vic Fangio style defense, that Chris Shula style defense, that Mike McDonald. Oh, breaking news for you Hawk fans. Where did he go?
Where did he go?
Okay, this isn't a basketball channel. I'm not
No,
even a Hawks fan, but that's
that's big
crazy.
shit.
That's crazy. Anyways,
That is big stuff.
you want to find an offensive mind that can beat Mike McDonald's defense. That is a sound defense, right? A Jim
Hmm.
Schwartz style defense, a Vance Joseph style defense. Oh, he got to go where he wanted. I heard that's where he wanted to go. So,
Good stuff,
um,
man.
so I think it's an offensive mind. If I had
Hmm.
my list, right, it all depends, like you said, on when do they play? Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Is it
Saturday
Saturday?
night. Saturday night. The Bears.
Is it?
I believe Saturday night at 8, baby.
So we have two NFC matchups on Saturday because it's Panthers,
Mhm.
it's Rams at Panthers, and then
That's on
okay,
Sunday,
is it?
if I'm not mistaken. I'll pull up the playoff schedule, but go ahead. Give the
Anyways,
folks what
so
you're
this
thinking, man.
weekend, right? So we're all Bears fans because I truly think if they were going to give him an extension, it would have been done. Like you don't wait to the end of the year on giving a guy that you want to continue to be here. You don't wait to the end of the season and let him hit the market. That extension would have been done. So that's kind of pointing in the direction of we're going to move on from LaFleur and we're going to probably promote Halfley, who a lot of the fans love, ownership
Hmm.
loves. He's built a defense, a culture there. Um, if he is let go or they part ways, he is immediately the top favorite, and he's my number one guy. If I'm being honest with you, he's got the relationship with Matt Ryan, so that there's the tie there, right? He was
Mhm.
his quarterback's coach back in 2016, right? We all
Mhm.
talk about he should have been the guy promoted after
Sure.
Kyle. That was Dan
Absolutely.
Quinn's,
Mhm.
first mistake, and a long list of them. LaFleur could come back and right the wrongs of Dan Quinn, right? He is such a savvy coach that I feel confident in him being able to, brother. You have Bijan and Drake London. You tag Kyle Pitts and you bring him
Oh,
back. He
and we have the
now
money now to tag him.
we do. Now you
Mhm.
may have to retool the offensive line because he does run
Yes.
both gap and zone
And
schemes.
so yes.
So that would be exciting for me and a couple of viewers here. We've been preaching, gap scheme that we wanted. So
Mhm.
and that also raises the chances of Jeff Ulbrich returning because they also
Absolutely.
have
Buddy,
a
buddy.
relationship. Now
Yep.
we do have to see if Salah gets a job. If Salah gets a job, most likely Ulbrich will follow. That's normal, right? The next
Sure.
guy on my list would probably be Stefanski. And I think that's an
Ooh.
unpopular opinion throughout the fan base because they look at Cleveland, oh, the quarterback
Mhm.
situation, oh, he's arrogant, this and the other. It's known information that ownership overstepped their boundaries and overrode what he wanted on his football team and what Eric Berry, right? Eric Berry, that's the
Yep.
GM's name. That what
Andrew
they
Berry.
or Andrew Berry, what they wanted to
Mhm.
do for the team, right? That's why the whole Deshaun Watson thing happened. That's why they traded away Baker Mayfield or cut him, whichever one it was. He liked Baker. He didn't want him gone, but ownership said we're done, right? He doesn't
Mhm.
control that roster decision. Then, he made salad with chicken shit, pardon my language, with Joe Flacco. Won 11
Yeah.
games with Joe
One
Flacco,
yeah. Yep.
the skeleton of Joe Flacco. And then you think he wanted to draft two quarterbacks? He had five quarterbacks in camp this season.
That's crazy.
He had
Crazy.
five quarterbacks, brother. He did
Yep.
not want that. But he's got 2 11-win seasons. No other Browns head coach in franchise history, I think, has ever
Has
done
that.
that in their tenure, right? He's probably one of the longest tenured head coaches because that's always a revolving door, right?
Correct.
Two-time coach of the year. He's gone to the playoffs twice with the playoff win. He
Yep.
has a track record to understand of what is expected offensively. Now, he would have to bring a great offense or defensive mind. That's why he
Mhm.
had Jim Schwartz. Now, I do think Jim Schwartz benefited from having the best defensive player on his team, Miles Garrett,
Absolutely, Myles
new
Garrett.
new sack record leader in a
Yeah,
single
sack
season,
leader,
right?
baby.
Kudos to him, Texas
Yep.
native, right? Shout out. But again, that also raises the chances of Jeff Ulbrich because a smart guy like Stefanski and Matt Ryan will say, look at what Jeff did this year. Was it elite? At times, yes. But overall through the season, it was a consistent, right? They were giving you opportunity after opportunity, pressuring the quarterback, creating turnovers, 3-and-outs, you name it. They were setting up the offense for success. So you would want to continue to build off of that. My third
Mhm.
guy would
Mhm.
be the obvious one, Kubiak, right? The
Clint.
young,
Yep.
up and coming,
Mhm.
up and coming OC. He's had success in NOLA, right? He
Yep.
made Derek Carr look like a great quarterback, right?
He
A
was
trash
slanging
guy,
it.
right?
Sure.
He made him
Yep.
look good. He's elevating Sam Darnold. He's got one of the
Mhm.
worst offensive lines, in my opinion, in Seattle, and they are still being able to do the things that they are. It would be an upgrade to come to Atlanta. And then
Yeah.
I also think he would bring his dad in as a consultant. I
Of
do
some
think
sort. I thought about that too.
I
Absolutely.
do
A
think
senior offensive assistant.
exactly, to help show him the way of how to be a head coach, how to run an operation, right? And then,
Mhm.
if his brother doesn't get an OC gig, doesn't get a head coaching call or whatever, you could see his brother come onto the staff as well. And I think he could pick from, hey, let me grab this guy from Shanahan's let me grab this guy from Mike McDonald. Let me grab this
Mhm.
guy from, build his staff with the relationships he's built. So any of those three, I think, would be a win for the
I
Atlanta
agree, man.
Falcons
Yeah.
because, yeah, I think, and then ultimately, same thing. Jeff Ulbrich, hey, his dad will be like, hey, he had success. The players know him. They know what they want to do. You give him the keys right now. He doesn't have Raheem. Raheem's philosophy that he has to kind of mix in with his philosophy. It can be strictly his. And then we go from there. So those would be
Yeah.
my top three.
Yeah, I think I'll piggyback off of that. I'll go number one for me, Kevin Stefanski. I love the run
Ooh,
heavy
okay.
scheme that he has. He's been a victim of his own roster in terms of talent. Yeah, obviously, yes, like you mentioned, you benefit from having the elite player on defense. That helps you all along. But Kevin Stefanski, while everybody is in love with the Shanahan McVay, the trees, when you want to talk about it. Yeah, Stefanski comes from a pretty impressive tree himself, and anybody that knows, it originated from Brad Childress, and we all know Brad Childress as an offensive coordinator. He has a couple people under his tutelage, one being Mike Tomlin. Oh, what do you got?
Someone asked. It's
Oh
chicken,
yeah, gotcha.
creamy chicken. It's like a Mexican soup.
Oh, I love it, man.
It tastes like a
It's a
little.
tortilla,
I'm counting
no carb.
calories.
I
I
got it.
want a
All
tortilla. I
right.
want a tortilla, but I
Oh,
can't.
I get it. I get it. I'm on that tip too, but I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. So yeah, man, Stefanski would be for me, but for reasons mentioned. You start looking at trees, and while everybody harps and knocks on, with the McVay and the Shanahan, I'm old school too, just like a lot of folks are. Man, I like what Brad Childress has done in the NFL. Now, his offenses weren't explosive, weren't as commanding, but they were in a sense innovative to some degree. And it plucks from what Andy Reid likes to do now. Mike Tomlin, we see in Pittsburgh what he's been able to do. Leslie Frazier, when he had his time with Buffalo, we was able to see what he was doing. So Stefanski would be number one for me. Clint would be number two for me. Absolutely, an up and coming OC, runs a little bit of West Coast. I'm excited to see. I would be excited to see how much he can also maximize Kyle Pitts and how he can utilize him. In the West Coast system, it may have changed over time, but tight end is pretty pivotal, and you see how he utilizes those Seattle Seahawk tight ends over there. So Clint for me, also in his run game is to be respected as well. Like you mentioned it, makeshift offensive line, probably a superstar on that line that just got a bag, Charles Cross.
Outside zone heavy scheme too.
Outside zone heavy scheme. My next point. So, it's kind of, some would call it a seamless transition. Okay, sure. And like you mentioned, I'm really attracted to that idea of bringing dad in to just oversee the offensive, and then how they can just, get ready for every Sunday and just really how to attack the opponent on hand. And third is where I'm hung up, right? Because I want to win, right? And I think everybody does want to win, right? While some people are off on the whole John Harbaugh situation, after the reassessing, I think I jump on that train too, and just would want to build that tough culture that is Baltimore. That's what we need in Atlanta, man. We need winning. We need winning, right? This is like Mike Tomlin, one of the longest tenured head coaches in the league. I think he's amassed a 180 and 113 record as a head coach. Has well over 661%. Yeah, and he has the ring and the winning percentage. So it's he has a lot of impressive things that are on his side. So that would be my top three, man. Stefanski, Clint, and John Harbaugh, man.
I'm a little turned off by John Harbaugh,
Sure.
just for the fact, like, you saw what happened
Yeah.
when McDonald left.
Yeah.
It was a huge drop off, and Zach Orr is a brand new defensive coordinator, and I don't want to,
Yeah.
poo poo on him, right? He's
No.
learning, right? But who was the guy on the Baltimore staff that you guys felt should have been a DC? What was his name?
Sheesh. Chris Hewitt.
Someone that had been there for years, that had been waiting, and he didn't
Mm-hmm.
elevate him. He elevated a
Mm-hmm.
former player,
Sure.
right? And so that's where I kind of question, has he had the luck of the draw with his
Mm-hmm.
coordinators, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know the chat's not going to like this. I'm not a very big Todd Monken fan. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think. I like what he does at times,
Mm-hmm.
but I question his situational play calling
Mm.
at times.
And we've
And so
had
that
too much problems
and
situational play
and
calling
that
here.
that turns me away from that, because that was one of the big things. Like,
Yep.
ownership wanted him to get rid of Todd Monken, and he was loyal to Todd, and that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. But you got to rip the Band-Aid off. And that's kind of like what we heard about Raheem, right? They told him
Mhm.
Zach needs to go, and he said no. And you stay loyal to your guy, well, ultimately it costs you your job. You mind if we hit these super chats real quick?
Yeah, let's do it, man. So I'm gonna start with this one here because Rod was the first one. Rod, man, thank you so much for the 4.99 bid, man. Appreciate you always being a supporter of the show. He has his guys, John Harbaugh, number one for him, Clint Kubiak, Matt LaFleur, if he's let go, Kevin Stefanski, and I'm assuming that's Chris Shula at number 5. All great names. I will probably shy away from Chris Shula more than anybody on this list. But everybody else to me, I didn't mention Matt LaFleur, but he's up there too, man. He's up
What you
there
got
too.
against LaFleur, man?
I don't have anything against LaFleur. I think he's a good developer, man. He's had great teams. His offenses are innovative. Sometimes I feel like he's predicated more on speed on his offenses, and that's something that we don't have a lot of other than Bijan Robinson. So what would a Matt LaFleur offense look like here in Atlanta with his obvious needs at the wide receiver spot and, of course, maybe tight end? But go ahead.
Look at this. Do you know what the one knock on Jordan Love is as a quarterback?
Um, Not necessarily. I think he does a lot of the things well, man.
It's his footwork. He does a lot of
It's his
fadeaways.
footwork.
He throws off his back foot a lot.
That's true. Yeah,
Okay?
for me, I always thought he was trying to mimic Brett Favre in the way that fucking Favre slung the thing around, being
He
under him for so long.
he can work with a quarterback with footwork problems. Just saying.
I know, and we have one that's needs a little refining in the foot area, and that's no knock towards him. It's we say this, or I say this with a heavy heart because the young man really hurt his chances of refining his footwork.
This
And
offseason, yeah.
with this offseason, and you know what, I have to say this too about Penix. Yeah, his footwork needs to be, it needs to be refined, and I think that's part of the reason why during the season this year, I don't think he was that confident with certain throws because
So
I felt like he's had what two ACL injuries, or so he's always had lower leg injuries that derailed his season. So
so
where's his confidence at
yeah.
in his base as a quarterback, right?
Yeah. So
If that's fair to say.
I heard, and you went to camp.
Mhm.
What was it? Multiple days, right?
Yes.
So I heard that if Michael had a bad pass or he
Hmm.
threw a pick,
Hmm.
he kind of got mental with himself and he was kind of off on his own.
Hmm.
Kind of got in his head. Can you attest to that? Do you remember seeing that?
So what I remember seeing is passes being very if it was an incomplete, you didn't see more throwing plays. You would exclusively only see running plays, and we would see him flop in and out more. That's what I saw. So so for example, the when not Ray, excuse me, Ray, not him. When Darnell Mooney went down, I was feet away from that injury. He was out the next maybe 3 or 4 plays. He didn't go back in.
Interesting.
Kurt was taking some of the snaps, and it was a lot of run more than it was pass. When he felt like he was ready to get back in, that's when he came back in. So wherever you heard it from, there's validity to that. There is absolute validity
So
to
you
that.
need a coach to keep his confidence up and uplift
Yes.
him. So
Yes.
yeah, that's going to be key as well. So
Yes.
next super chat, Rod again. No way the
Yeah.
Falcons messed this up this year, right?
Agreed.
It feels like they can't this year because it does.
Mhm.
My wife said, "You say every offseason feels different." Yes, I may say it, but like truly, when you look at it based off how the Falcons are operating, Arthur Blank, it really does
Mhm.
look like a different offseason. Fired the
It
head coach
does.
like that, fired the GM, right? And then
Mhm.
moved his business buddy. He said, "You're no longer the CEO. I want you out. Yes, I want you to handle Mercedes Benz, but you are no
Mhm.
longer handling the Falcons." That is Greg Beatles. That is
Yep.
president of football operations. I am creating this position to mitigate the issues that we continuously have. So it feels like we shouldn't get it wrong as long as the Iceman is back at the top running this
Absolutely.
operation. So it feels that way, right? And then Jay
Mhm.
Black with the big $10 donation. Appreciate
Jay
you, my
Black, man,
man.
appreciate
Good
you,
to see
brother.
you, Berto and Bro Talk back at it. Rise up. Yes, rise
Let's
up.
go, man.
It
Love
uh
it, man.
it, it it's a good start to the off season.
It is, right? Really, no, the only moves made thus far, of course, getting rid of Terry, getting rid of Raheem, showing Rich McKay finally the door that is the exit. And now it's just exciting times. Do you feel like a decision is going to be made within a week, or is this something you feel we can wait on after the Super Bowl?
Or as far as what? The GM and head coach?
GM head coach.
I think we already know who we want, right? It's just a matter of who said person is available. Now there are a couple
Mm,
guys tied to Atlanta that are already available. But if it's
sure.
the guy in Green Bay, they're waiting to see if he's going to be available, right? I
Yep.
think, you know, there are multiple insiders that reported Matt Ryan's already been working scouting GMs, scouting head coaches, making the phone calls. And it's not tampering because he's not employed
No, he's not
by the
employed.
Atlanta
Exactly.
Falcons. So a
Absolutely.
lot of people were worried about that. It's not tampering. He's not employed by him. So maybe
Yep.
that's why it's taking so long. Again, I thought the first hire is going to be Matt Ryan. The
Right.
announcement, right? It's got to be this week, right? They're already interviewing guys. They're meeting the Rooney Rule, and once he's hired, then you can say, okay, maybe it will be a fast thing, so they can get started right away and be fully
Hmm.
prepared once the new league year starts. So,
Hmm.
I think we kind of know who's the GM is going to be.
What are your thoughts on him?
I
Ian.
think it is Ian Cunningham. I know you said you're kind of not in it.
Yeah, I all right. Look, so a lot of people when they hear names, they jump right, and the number one thing that when you look at Ian's track record, right, he was a Southeast area coach for the Baltimore Ravens. You think Baltimore Ravens? What do you think? What comes to mind? Ozzie Newsome, Eric
DaCosta.
DeCosta, right?
Yep.
Two pillars in the NFL executive offices, two guys that know how to whip an organization into shape quick, fast, in a hurry. Okay, I can see that. He leaves Baltimore, goes to the Eagles, does win a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but he was Howie Roseman's right hand man for a little while there. So he was able to see and navigate and learn from probably one of the better, cap guys around it for GMs and Howie Roseman. Now you translate all that knowledge, and now you go to the Bears, and now you're working with Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles obviously has the connection to Matt Ryan because they're early days and Boston College. Sweet. But what is the draft? What has the Bears draft look like in 5 years,
This
right?
year's looks pretty good, man.
This year thus far does look pretty good, but if you put it on the spray chart, you can see the amounts of hits and misses, a la what Terry Fontenot gets criticized for now, right? I think what's brought over on Terry still is that 2021 draft and the contract that was given to Kirk Cousins. You Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, so Ryan Poles had a similar thing that
Yep.
has worked out. The trade
Hmm.
with Carolina,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
landed them Caleb Williams. That landed them multiple players that they have on the roster, right? They found that kid in the 7th round this year. What's his name? Manung. I can't.
Monungai,
Yeah,
yeah, the running back,
yeah. So
a gem.
they and we talk about Ryan Poles because he laughed at some of the things that Terry did, and it felt disrespectful because it was towards the Falcons, but I like the resume of him bouncing. We talk about guys in organizations that have been successful and finding ways to find talent. And from what I read, he led the charge in free agency, right? He signed Drew Dahlman. He traded for
Hmm.
Jonah Jackson. He traded for
Yeah,
Joe Tooney. They
yeah,
flipped that
remade it.
roster in one offseason
Hmm.
and after
Hmm.
getting Ben Johnson, right?
Hmm.
Um, they signed players like Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, like Kevin Byard's had a resurgence in his career. So to see him turn down a GM position now and kind of like, hey, I'm waiting for the right opportunity, I don't fault him for that, you
No,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
having the connection with Matt Ryan, I mean, it kind of the writing's on the wall, right? They
it
have that
is.
relationship, but that's the good thing about having a relationship because you can have those tough, honest conversations and not worry about hurting the other guy's feelings or
Not at all.
stepping on a toes and be like, no, like we need to all be on the same page about what we're going to do. We have this
Hmm.
player on the board, but you're telling me this, and this, but I see this, and this. Where do we need to, like having a relationship with someone allows you to do that. And That's why sometimes people, I laugh at the buddy thing. Oh, they're just hiring his buddy. Well, sometimes working with your buddy's the best thing you can do because you can be
Absolutely.
you can be real with one another.
Hell yeah, absolutely,
And
man. No, I
so,
think that play is trash. No, he doesn't fit into our system. Shit like that. You can have those behind the scenes conversations, and just nobody have their feelings hurt because it's genuine back and forth conversation. That's what you need more of, man. To be honest, man. So yeah, I love it. I got to answer this real quick if you don't
okay.
mind, and then I'll get to something that we're breaking here, brother. He says, Berta, why have you been on the round table? Listen, I'll touch on this real quick. I did have to make my exit. I had some real personal things going on with me for quite some time. I'm just now making my rounds back into this lovely space. Bro Talk has manned it down on the NFC South roundtable, and I don't feel like coming in and messing up the chemistry. So yes, I bowed gracefully and allowed and just gave that spot to my guy, right? And I think he's very deserving. And just be prepared for the shit that he's going to lay upon any and everybody on the NFC South roundtable. While I do express sincere gratitude to that organization, Roundtable Sports, Richie and the guys have built something phenomenal over there that everybody can just tune in and enjoy on week to week basis, whether you're an NFC South fan or just a football fan overall. So yeah, just that face, that superstar right there is what you need to get used to going forward. And because he is such a superstar, here on Reporting Eligible, the duo. I'm just Berto. I'm the co-host. I'm the yapper. I'm the guy with with knowledge, of course, of football. But my guy Bro Talk is the in and outs. He knows what he's talking about. We just broke the 1,017 eyes mark, something that I think only one other time before on a joint live stream we've ever done. But for our shows collectively, Reporting Eligible, coming to you live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Man, this is great to see. So thank you so very much to every single one of you viewers. It's a lot taking time away from family to come watch the show. But if we can ask just a little bit, please like and subscribe to the platforms, the 95 North Falcons Talk Show and at Dirty Bird Central. Right now, you can see it on the clicker down below. But back to our favorite team, the Atlanta Falcons, who are just doing exciting things already. Begs a different question with the exits of course, Raheem and Terry, more specifically, Raheem. With new regime, everybody's out. But who, Bro Talk, are you keeping from Raheem's all the old regime? Is there any coaches in place currently now that you're like, ha, do whatever it takes to keep that individual in
Number one
Atlanta?
is Nate Ollie. You do not break the
Oof,
chemistry that he has with his young defensive front. Like, you keep that man.
absolutely.
He was a big reason that these young guys bought into what they were going to do on defense. Nate Ollie's number one.
Thank
Uh,
you, C. Doug.
Number two, I kind of want to keep Jeff Ulbrich. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I do kind of want to keep it because we talked about it, I think, last show. Like, how long has it been since we've had a defensive coordinator 2 years in a row? It feels like
Mm.
forever. Forever. It's been 1 year after the other, after the other, after the other, right? We had that 1 year with Ryan Nielsen. Oh, let's keep
Oh,
Ryan
man,
Nielsen.
let's
Let's
keep
keep
him.
Ryan Nielsen. And then boom,
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
change happened. And that was more of him taking a job because he was unsure if he would be retained. And I don't blame him one bit. I
Hmm.
would bring back Ulbrich. You bring back Ulbrich, you bring back Nate Ollie. You bring back Petrie, the running back coach.
Oh,
I
Matt
think
just
he's
said it here.
I
Oh,
think he's done a
man.
phenomenal job. I think he's done a phenomenal job. Now, the only way I would keep Ledford is if you remove the running game coordinator title off of him and say, Ledford, I want you to just strictly focus on the
Yep.
offensive line. This is what I want you to do. We're going to reassociate. You could give it to Petrie, right? He knows what his running backs do well at. Bijan, he can run gap, he can run zone, right?
Yep.
Is Tyler going to be back? If he is, we know what he can do with gap and zone. So
Yep.
just repurposing him, I think, benefits Ledford because apparently Ledford From what
It's a
I've
hot
seen in social media,
commodity.
everyone's after Ledford. Oh, you
Heck
need an
yeah.
O-line coach? Go get Ledford. And like,
Go get
hey,
Ledford.
hey, hold on there.
Stay away.
He's still ours until we say otherwise. And Ledford has said openly
Yeah.
that
He wants to stay, man.
that he wants to be here. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, right? Same thing, continuity. The O-line's bought into it. What does that mean?
1017 Brick Squad. If I'm not mistaken, that's oh my God, what's his name? He's a rapper from Atlanta, man.
Oh,
but go ahead, yeah.
So you bring the continuity. I mean, other than that, man, I'm
Waka
good.
Flocka. That's his name. Waka Flocka,
I'm
sorry.
good. Oh, Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick
Yeah.
Squad. Yeah, I remember. I'm good on moving on from everyone else. First guy that needs to be shown the door is TJ Yates. Hey, see you later. Get out of here. You're gone.
Baby.
Besides Zach
Get out.
Robinson and
Right.
Marquise Williams, right? Those are the big
Right.
three that need to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on the same tip with you guys, man. Yeah, Petrie doesn't get enough acknowledgement from the league on what the job that he's done with Tyler Algier first, and then Bijan Robinson, right? Michael Petrie was a holdover from the Arthur Smith regime, and Raheem kept him. Will he see that again? Hopefully. Dwayne Ledford, I agree too, right? Remove that run game coordinator position off of him, and appreciate him for the job that he does with the offensive linemen. Look at the job that he did with Ryan Musial this year, the continuing job that he's been doing with Matthew Bergeron. Of course, Chris Lindstrom speaks for himself, but I feel like Caleb McGarry started turning a little corner under the Dwayne Ledford tutelage there. And you see what Drew Dahlman was able to command in free agency. He's a Pro Bowler for the Chicago Bears. So shout out to him. Absolutely shout out to him. But yeah, man. Wait, is there another coach? Yeah, Petrie, Ulbrich, Ali, of course. Yeah.
Here's a question. Do you think that
Yeah.
new wide receiver coach stuff could actually happen? What do you think?
I don't think so. You can't be too buddy, man. You for as great as footwork master was himself and Mo Sanu. Nah, man, you got to get somebody that's been in the game. If you ask me, you know who I would want as a wide receiver coach? Wes Welker. He's worked with Shanahan. I think he's currently in Miami in some offensive capacity.
Yeah, I think him and LaFleur have some ties somewhere.
Somewhere.
It may have been in San Francisco. So I wouldn't be opposed to Wes Welker, but
yeah.
But then again, Sanu has the connections, right? The buddy
Sure.
thing may work. Sanu's been open and honest on social media of how receivers should do certain things. Now the question is, does he want to do it? I think he has said he would be open to doing it, getting his foot into the coaching world in the NFL. I've seen Antoine Randall go from the Lions to the Bears. Right,
sure.
You see the translation there. I watched Antoine Randall when I was a kid. I know you did.
Oh
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Antoine Randall, Indiana University.
Yeah.
Right? Monday night intro, right? I love
Spot
that.
On. But spot on.
So those are good candidates. I did see a question here for you, Berto. Kind of segue here because it is a very interesting times here.
Mm-hmm.
Who on the team are you keeping? And now I'll add on to this.
Mm-hmm.
As far as free agents, let's start there. Free agents, right? The ones we know of, the ones at the top of the head. Who is someone that you're trying to retain for the Falcons as far as roster wise? So of course, we're just speculating, right? You won't know who we're going to try and retain until you hire the GM for the scheme. You hire the GM, you hire the head coach for the scheme, offense, defense, all that good stuff. But if you were the head coach, who are you telling the GM to keep?
So because we have, you want to say issues at wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, right? Because you don't know what decisions are going to be made, right? Darnell Mooney's not. I don't feel like he's safe going into this season because there could be better options available in not just in the draft, but free agency itself. It's a contract you can move on from without a lot of dead cap, coming your way. So if I'm coming in, priority number 1 for me is Kyle Pitts. And I'm looking at the body of work and his utilization the last 5 games. If the season was to start 5 weeks ago, he would be leading the league in catches, touchdowns, and yardage amongst pass catchers. So for me, bar none, it would be Kyle Pitts because I would love, for Atlanta, they need pass catchers. They're going to need it, right? So Drake London on one side, and we'll just keep Pitts at in his natural position of tight end. So for me, it would be Kyle Pitts.
Any others?
Yeah, no, I thought you was just asking for one.
I'll keep going.
Yeah. What other free agents? I love Tyler Algier. I love him. Had 1,000-yard season here. I would want to bring him back, and I don't think that he would break the bank in Atlanta. Now I know that there's the comments that he wants his carries. He wants to be the guy. I get it. I get it, but yeah, I would definitely keep Tyler Algier. I would want that continuity at the running back position instead of bringing somebody else in, and going from there. Now, who else?
Here,
Caden Ellis, man.
yeah, Caden
Caden
Ellis.
Ellis, man.
Now, it all depends on the price tag, and we've talked about this, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna be 31,
Yep.
right? He just had an elbow injury that caused him to wear an elbow brace. Now he was playing through that injury, probably not
Yep.
serious, right? So he'll have the offseason to heal. You gotta have that conversation with him. Hey, we'd love to have you back. The Atlanta community, loves you here. We love what you did, right? He's one of the most versatile blitzing linebackers. You can move him around, especially with Divine Diablo still under contract. You can keep
Mhm.
that duo there. I think he's there. D. Alford has earned himself a nice little contract. I don't think it'll break the bank
I don't think so either, but
I
that's a
think you
good
can
name.
sign him for at least a 2-year deal, right? For a
Mhm.
little change that he would, I'm
Mhm.
sure, gladly accept. Now, whether he probably wouldn't, he might start the season, right? That Billy Bowman's still going to be recovering off that Achilles injury. Hey, man, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
So you sign him there. He's definitely earned himself, and that's why it's so important to retain Jeff Ulbrich, right? Because he flourished under Ulbrich. It's just coaching matters, right? We say that.
Hell yeah.
You see 1 year under this defensive coordinator, we're all like, get him out of here. He stinks. He sucks. And then you see what happens the next year. He gets his redemption arc and balls out, and came up with a crucial interception in this last game
Mhm.
to help us
He
win.
did. Oh
Um,
man, he's grown as a player. He's grown
he
as a
he
corner.
he
He
has.
really has, man.
Man, as far as like other guys retaining, I think Tyler Algier, I hate to say it,
Yeah,
I think he's going to sign somewhere else.
I think so too, but I
I
would
think
want him.
Minnesota, Dallas, and Kansas City are all destinations I think he could land and take over as that number one running back spot, right? Dallas
Yeah.
is cheap, so they may not pay him the money he wants. But if
Mhm.
he gets running back one spots, I think I would love to see him, next to Dak Prescott. You guys know how I feel about Dak. I think he would
Yep.
flourish in that offense, and the Cowboys notoriously have a good offensive line there. Um, Kyle Pitts, I was just looking at the numbers. The projected franchise tag for a tight end is 15 million. Okay.
Yep.
I ask you, friend, is he worth more than David Njoku a year?
What's David Joker made? Oh,
He's
he's in
making
that 16, right?
13.6.
Oh shit.
Mark Andrews makes 13 million. Jake Ferguson just signed for 12 and a half this offseason.
He's in that Jake Ferguson plot. So he's right there.
TJ Hawkinson makes 16.5 million.
No. I will not take draft status, seasons of receptions and numbers, any of that into consideration. What I will take into consideration is consistency and how consistent that you have been. Some would say posting back-to-back 600-yard seasons is consistent. I beg to differ to some regard. I would put him in that 12 and a half million contract
I would
for
give
to be a
him,
Falcon.
I would tell him, I'm going to give you 3 for 39, 13 million a year.
13 million a year. That's fair.
Take it or leave it, right? That's
Yep.
fair, right?
Fair.
You're
Absolutely.
not at the very top, but you're one of the top paid tight
Absolutely.
ends.
Mhm.
But you make it to where if the team wants to cut ties, you keep that guaranteed money. You give them enough, but if something happens, you can make up the money somewhere else. So
Yeah.
again, it depends on who's calling the plays offensively if they want to bring back Kyle Pitts. Those are the big names that are going to hit free agency. Now, I want to see someone like LaCale London come back.
Brother, eat right here. Chris
Right
just
there,
mentioned it.
right there. Now,
Absolutely, man.
Street did play well. I would be
Yeah.
okay bringing him back in the
Mhm.
offseason and letting him fight it out in camp for a
Mhm.
spot. I wouldn't be upset if he made the team, but definitely LaCale London. Like, he had a career year this year.
Yeah, he
This
did.
attacking style front. I'm good signing a cheap LaCale London and letting Onyemata walk.
Absolutely.
Onyemata is considered old in this league, right? 32 is not
Mhm.
old
32 is not old, no.
in real
Mm-mm.
life, but in the NFL, you're ancient at that point.
Mhm.
especially as a defensive lineman, right? So David Onyemata, I could see walking and then going signing, with a team that's ready to win now. Let him try and win in the playoffs, right? Not saying that we can't, but that's something he may want to do.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. Any cap casualties that you see? I know you mentioned
Ooh,
Darnell
that's fun.
Mooney. I know you mentioned
Darnell
Darnell
Mooney,
Mooney.
yeah.
He could be a cap casualty, but give me someone else that you
Yeah,
think could be a cap casualty
man.
off the rip.
Off the rip, Jake Matthews.
He just signed that extension though,
It's a
brother.
business.
It's a business,
It's
but holy moly, are we gonna put? Hold on.
it might sound stupid to some, but I've been pissed at his play. He struggles so much in this month of December.
He did struggle last week. It was probably his worst game of the year.
And when you look at the schedule next year, it doesn't favor him if he's the blindside protector or just the protector overall. When you got to go up against teams like Pittsburgh and Cleveland, who has Miles Garrett, the whole AFC North per
So,
se.
so who are you putting out there at left tackle?
Listen, we're having those steep conversations in
I
the
don't think.
second round, and
I,
who's available.
I don't think Matt cuts his buddy. I don't think Matt cuts his buddy. He
Yeah,
blocked for Matt for so many years. Now I'm looking at the
sure,
numbers. If you cut
yeah,
him, you're not saving any money. You're just taking on dead cap this
dead
entire
cap.
year. You're
Yep.
not saving it. Now, if he were to get cut, it would be heading into the 2027 offseason. That's where you start saving money, and then it
Hmm.
opens up even more in 2028. So I don't know if I agree with you there on the
No,
Jake
that's
Matthews
fine.
thing.
Yeah,
The
that's
one,
fine.
Kirk's the obvious one, right? He restructured that
Absolutely.
deal.
Mhm,
He did that so the Falcons could cut him, right? That
mhm,
that
yep,
was the biggest thing is like, hey, if we're not saving money, we're just gonna hang on to you. And if you play, you play. If not, you don't. Um, I don't know if I see many cap casualties. I could see a trade happen for Jesse Bates, a team that needs a safety like the Dallas Cowboys. I would hate to break up that duo, but like you said, this is a business.
mm,
If you can
it
recoup
is.
a third round pick for Jesse Bates, who would be on the last year of his deal, it's kind of hard to pass that up.
Who
You
you
know,
putting at safety next to him?
you're drafting someone.
Also, you're gonna draft
You
somebody.
you draft someone, or you hold on. We're doing this already because you know
Look at
what?
this.
Why
This
not?
guy is so yapping. This guy says that guy is just yapping. So, okay, just yapping. So, Jesse Bates, who's more important, Jesse Bates or Jake Matthews right now? If we're talking cap casualties,
Well, right
or,
now
if we're talking, or even to your point, trading, who's more valuable to the team now?
I'm looking at it from a money standpoint,
Okay,
and the money says I keep Jake, and that's the ghost of Terry Fontenot. I'm
okay,
not saying that I want Jesse traded. I
right,
don't. Right? I
right.
don't I don't say that I want him traded. I'm just thinking, what could happen. You have Alohi Gilman gonna hit free agency. You have
Mm-hmm.
Ardarius Washington, you have
Mm,
Jonathan Owens, Kyle Duggar, Andre Cisco, Kevin Byard. Like these aren't like the super like elite guys, but it's someone that you could pluck back there and develop, right? Everyone's been chopping at
sure.
that. I think I've seen Hellum's name right there. Can he
Yeah.
stay healthy, right? That's the biggest thing. I don't want him traded, personally. I would like to see
Hmm.
him extended at 2 years, team-friendly deal,
Hmm.
right? "Hey, you had a down year, but we'll give you some money. We'll extend you because we
Hmm.
want you to continue to help develop Xavier Watts into the all-pro that he's gonna be,"
Hmm.
etcetera. So that would be one where I was kinda like, "Oh, guys, hey, don't shoot the messenger. With a new regime comes big changes like this." Right? Big changes happen like that. Now,
They do, man.
a new regime could also make a blockbuster trade to acquire someone, much like the Bears did when they acquired DJ Moore. They traded back. They do all these things. So, um, you just never know, right? This is just me off rip, right? I haven't done like
Yeah,
this deep dive analysis, right? This is just me looking at the list of how we could save money, and that could be potentially one, right? We need another pick, right?
we do. We
We we
do.
need we need to start drafting, right? Eric DeCosta says it all the time. You need to be able to go up to the bat as many times as possible and
Hmm.
try and hit as many home runs as you can, or singles or doubles, whatever the case may be, to get a full roster construction. This roster, one of Terry's biggest things was it was so front heavy that there was no depth. Your starter goes down, you're putting out JD Bertrand out there because Divine Diablo is hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Look what that got us.
Look what that got us. Right.
Yeah. So it's a long off season, right? We're still in the playoffs. We still don't know who's going to be the GM. There's a lot of uncertainty until we know for sure. Then that's when me and Berto will get into the weeds and actually tell you what is realistic.
Right here, look at this one. Trade Jesse. You could use Billy Bowman back at safety if fully healthy. Draft the guy. If Billy didn't go down, I think Jesse becomes the most attractive option to get rid of. But I think that alters the plans with Billy Bowman being out.
The thing with Billy and it being an Achilles injury, doctors say when it comes to tearing your ACL or your Achilles, which is the better of the two, right? They're both terrible injuries, but they see players who tear their ACL be able to bounce back and play at the level they were versus the Achilles. So I am very scared for how Billy Bowman. That's why I don't think they should rush him back. Billy, get 100%, get your footing, and then we'll put you out on the field. He's going to be chomping at the bit like any player in the NFL wants. Yeah. They want to be out there, right? He wants to prove himself. But the staff's going to have to protect him. So the Achilles, I just hated that it was an Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, I and I don't mean to just keep jumping on Jake or anything offensive line related, but it's I really don't. But like we saw the remake of the offensive line, which started in 2019. It continued in 21. 5 years later, you may have to start looking at that, right?
Oh, yeah,
like one of my arguments, right? When we signed Kirk Cousins, before I called the Michael Penix, and I'm gonna fucking stick to that like white on rice because I fucking called it. But I was also saying shit, you just signed a $180 million quarterback. You got to protect that investment. If Joe Alt is there, draft Joe Alt.
Yeah, that would have been
Joe Alt. Right?
Hindsight.
Yeah.
Hindsight. You have a Hall of Fame offensive tackle right there, and he fits in seamlessly. The problem is that this coaching staff was okay with Caleb and okay with Jake.
That's the problem.
That was the problem. Let's say we started that year with Elijah Wilkinson out there, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, we need to get an offensive tackle like ASAP.
Well, right now,
there you get him. But the last thing before we wrap up, this could be that blockbuster thing that this franchise does. Matt Ryan was the beneficiary of having a big center signed in Atlanta.
Alex Mack, baby.
That was a game changer bringing in Alex Mack. It would be a 100%. Game changer to having Tyler Linderbaum here in Atlanta next to Chris Lindstrom. It would help elevate Matthew Bergeron, who had a down year. Right? Yeah. He didn't ascend like we thought he would, but it would help him. And then you still have Nuzeel as your backup, who can also play guard. And there's your depth, right? That we've been looking for. But anyways, that's all I'm gonna say. Berto, I'll let you wrap.
Yeah, no, that's all good. And here, Matt throwing us a little bit of some knowledge too, worth mentioning. Matthew Bergeron was a tackle coming out of Syracuse.
Stop.
You don't know. Listen, you won't know until you try it. No, but you got to exhaust all avenues. You got to exhaust all of it. Oh, would you stop? You got to exhaust all your options, man, before you go and making any drastic move. All right, I'll give you, before we wrap, one intriguing free agent, which I know we'll probably dedicate a show to, down the line. But before we go, one interesting free agent you would like to see in a Falcons uniform, not named Tyler Linderbaum, because honestly, we don't know.
Okay, I'll give you one. It's kind of under the radar.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he's a free agent this year.
Yep.
Do you know who I'm going to go with?
Oh, man, I don't. I'm anxious, though.
I think he is. I could be wrong. He could still be under contract.
Let me ask, AFC or NFC?
AFC.
Okay, good. Let it rip.
AJ Epinesa.
Hey, I love AJ Epinesa, man. I wanted the Falcons to trade for him, man. Well, during the Nielsen era,
I
of
think he's
course.
under. I think he's a free agent this coming year because he signed an
Mhm.
extension when Raheem got hired. So it's been 2 years that he got his extension, and I think that's it. I would love to see him not as a starter, but as a depth player that can give you good reps and play
Mhm.
some good pass rush downs when you have your NASCAR package or you need a big nickel package. That is someone I have liked how he has developed since entering in the league.
This fucking kid.
Get ready, baby. The 49ers, bang, bang, Niner game this weekend. Exposing that fraud.
Oh man.
Exposing that
Oh
fraud.
man. Oh brother, man. Listen, I'll give you this name and then we'll wrap it up, right? Not a sexy name, right? But I think does get overlooked in this NFC team. We do have a small exit of some sort. Kareem, we don't know his status if he's going to come back. Obviously, AK 47 or whatever 17, whatever the
AK
fuck his number
17.
is,
Yeah.
whatever. He's out the door. Um, Braylon Trice, we don't know the status on what next year is going to look like for him. I would take a flyer on Kingsley Egenbare from the Green Bay Packers. He's a hustle defensive end, a high motor guy. Uh, I think he gets lost in the shuffle because the Packers do have some go getters at that edge spot. With Rashawn Gary and of course Micah Parsons and Luca Van Ness too. That's another guy that's rotated in there. Lost in that shuffle is Kingsley. Coming out of South Carolina, I did appreciate his game. So he's going to hit the free agent market. I don't know if he'll command a lot of money, but if he's one of those guys that you could bring in, on a 1 or 2 year deal to kind of remake his stock on a team that obviously is going to have snaps at that edge spot, why not? Why not take a flyer on him and see what he can offer? But that's enough. That's enough out of us. Please tune in for that one. That's coming down in the works in the nearest the futures. Free agent targets for our Atlanta Falcons, which is going to be a fun one. And hopefully, all eyes will be on the show as they were tonight. 1,266 of them to be exact. That superstar there has some pull like you wouldn't believe. But bro talk, let the folks know where they can find you, man.
Okay. First off, don't you ever
Oh
say this
boy.
nonsense again. Don't you ever say this nonsense again. Okay.
Oh
Listen
man,
here,
you gotta
buddy.
love
This
it,
is
man.
not a Georgia Bulldog show.
Oh Lord.
Watch that viewer count drop. No, but if you guys enjoyed the show, like and subscribe to both of our shows. Mine, I focus on short form content at Dirty Bird Central on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, wherever you get your short form content. I'm hoping this off season I can ramp up that long form content for you guys, make another off season video of how I think the Falcons should,
Mhm.
what direction they should go in. And on Twitter at BK squared 7, like the name shows here. Why? Because I can, and that's what I've been, and that's what I'm going to continue to be.
Yay! Oh, I gotta answer this too right here. Jay Black, yes, 65 watching. That's from YouTube. I think the trend now is using X as a live platform to garner and get viewerships too. So it's a platform that's up and coming in terms of viewership. YouTube has been an eyesore to many content creators, really nixing what a lot of contact creators can do, content creators can do, with short form content like you do. Obviously the all 22 thing has been nixed by them. So yeah, YouTube down the line, man, could see an exodus of a lot of content creators not channeling their stuff right through that said platform, but start searching Facebook and X because the viewerships are more organic and they're here every week. So thank y'all so very much. Of course, I'm your boy Berto, host of the 95 North Falcons talk show on YouTube. And obviously you can find me on Bleacher Report as well. Last week was the final assignment post-game reaction show, but we are going to hit the table around mid-January to find out what the 2026 plan is going to be. I assure you guys I will be back on that platform, rocking it out as I have been for now 3 years. thank you to the Bleacher Report family for that incredible opportunity. But until then, we will see you back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. with your boys reporting eligible. Thank you very much again. Y'all have a safe week and enjoy football this Sunday.
Bear
Go
down,
Bears.
baby. Bear down.
Go Bears.